Flex Your Voice Content Marketing crafts promotional take action content that speaks to the masses. Hurricane Poet LLC helps the empowerment industry and thought leaders flex their brand, value, and reputation because every voice is unique. Their branding pros and your unique message bring new traffic and new customers to your business. Contact Alicia Hurt at hurtinpoetllc.weebly.com. That's hurtinpoetllc.weebly.com. Welcome to Her Business, Her Voice, Her Conversation. This podcast was created for the boomer woman leaving corporate, and now you're looking to reinvent yourself, become an author, an entrepreneur, a podcaster. Well, each episode will leave you with clarity. You will come away with the yes, I can and yes, I will reinvent myself mindset. So come on, let's do this. I'm your host, Margot Levette. Well, hello, everybody. Welcome back. Another episode of Her Business, Her Voice, Her Conversation. Well, today's guest, she survived a harrowing Hurricane Katrina experience. She created a company that helps companies and organizations achieve desired outcomes. And today, we are going to talk about change. Help me welcome Keisha A. Rivers. Welcome, Keisha.
Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, I am excited. I want everybody to know that we had a pretty lengthy conversation before we even got to this point. And this thing of change, we are really going to take a deeper dive as we can in 30 minutes and talk about that. But I understand that you facilitate outcomes. So let's take it back a moment, and will you really let us know what was it like to come through this thing of Hurricane Katrina, and when you did not know what your outcome was going to be. Take us all the way back to being in your home.
Well, I tell people in the Katrina story actually became a catalyst for me shifting in terms of what I was going to do and what I really felt like I had found my sweet spot. And like I tell people, I said, you know, when I found myself sitting in my attic during Hurricane Katrina, we were at home at the time. And at one point I'm talking to my cousin and saying, you know, hey, everything's okay. The lights just went out, but you know, that happens on a windy day here. It's not a big deal. We're fine. Hang up from him. And I look down and I see water coming in under the baseboards. And within 15 minutes, the water was chest high in my house. And so when you're sitting in and you know, we get up in the attic and there's no way out of the attic. And the wind is howling and the rain is coming down and you're hearing people outside screaming and you're sitting here and you're watching the waters rise beneath your feet and realize that there is nowhere for you to go. That was my first time that I thought, oh my gosh, what impact have I made? Is this how it's really going to end? And so we were in the house and the storm is raging and you know, we ended up with 15 feet of water in the house.
Oh my.
And after the storm passes, you know, we chip out, you know, find a hammer and chip our way out onto, you know, the roof below. And I'm looking around and there's all this devastation. There's nothing but water as far as you can see. And a day or so later, you know, there's a guy from the neighborhood who comes by in a fishing boat and says, this boat just washed up on my house, next to my house. So I'm going to go around and start rescuing people and bringing them to this school. So we get to this school and there's 10 of us there and we're trying to figure out how we're going to make this work. And now I'm at another point. It's me and there are 3 kids and there are all these adults and there's one elderly couple, one who's an amputee, someone else who has a disabled child, And now it's at another crossroads. What impact am I going to make? Am I going to look out just for me, or am I going to see what we can do to pull people together?
Mm-hmm.
Then 5 days later, when we're rescued and we're taken to and dropped in Eatonton, Georgia, and taken to this 4-H camp, and I'm standing there with all these people, and there's all this confusion and chaos, and people don't know what to do, and they don't know how to get in touch with relatives, and there are these elderly people that I have befriended who have no idea where their family or their children are, and I have another decision to make. Am I going to make an impact?
Mm-hmm.
And so that became the crossroads, as you will, where I realized that when I made the decision to get involved and to start using my skills and my gifts and my talents and my abilities to bring other people together and to focus on what is it that we're trying to achieve, what outcomes are we trying to see, what does success look like, and then what can I do to help facilitate that. Once I made that decision, then I couldn't look back.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because once you have experienced that sense of empowerment and that sense of purpose and that sweet spot, as I call it, where
Yes.
everything comes together and you're like, this is what I'm supposed to be doing.
Yes. Yes.
So that was the moment. And
Wow.
and you know, and I tell people, I said, you know, my life and experiences with Katrina and other things that I've gone through has been a masterclass in how to manage change.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
I just take what I learned, and I take my experiences, and I take you know, this gift, talent, and ability that I've been blessed with to be able to walk other people through that process.
Yes. And you are an educator also. You come from an educator's background. So the educator background mixed in with life experience. Oh my, how powerful is that?
Yeah.
Goodness. You spoke of being at the crossroads. When you were at the crossroads, first thing that came to my mind was that your mind shifted. You had to make a decision right then and there. And it wasn't just on emotion. Emotion came into play. But am I correct that your mind had to shift and continue to shift?
Yes. And I have this saying that I call mindset to mastery. You change your mindset, you master your success.
Mm-hmm.
People always talk about changes and saying, oh, when I started doing these activities, or when I started following this script, or when I started, you know, following these activities, then things changed. No, what changed was your mind.
Mm-hmm.
If we don't wrap our minds around change, if we don't make a decision to change, and then we honor that decision with action, if we don't do those two things, then there is no change, because you'll go right back into the same habits. One thing that I've learned as an educator and with all of my past experience, and just personally, we're creatures of habit.
Mm-hmm.
Our minds want to be comfortable. We want to have routine. We want to understand what's coming.
Yes.
And when we get uncomfortable, when change happens, is when we push back.
Mm-hmm.
You know, how many times have you gone through and said, oh, I'm going to make some changes in my life for my health. I'm going to start eating differently. I'm going to start exercising. And you may do it for a couple of days or even a couple of months. And then, you know, you find yourself slipping back into what's comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not used to getting up at 5 a.m. So I'll sleep in late this time. I'm not used to eating this healthy. There's no such thing as a salad in my diet. Why am I doing, you know what? I'll skip the salad this time and go back to the Skittles. You know, we constantly battle with ourselves to go back to what's familiar until we make a change in our thinking.
That's
When
powerful.
we make that shift, and I always tell people, don't fake it till you make it. You need to learn it as you become it.
Oh, say that again, because we always hear fake it till you can make it. Wait a minute, that's a line in one of my books. And wait a minute, you're shining some light here. Keep going.
Yep.
Say that one more time.
So you don't fake it till you make it. You learn it as you become it.
Wow.
because faking it means that you're not attached to it. You know this is disingenuous. They talk about imposter syndrome. That imposter syndrome is rearing its head because it's whispered in your ear and saying, you are not authentic. This is not
Mm-hmm.
you. You know you really don't want to do this, and you are living a scam.
Wow. Mm.
And so we naturally pull away from that. We
Mm-hmm.
don't lean into that. But if you say, this is a learning experience, I made a decision to make this change, I am going through this process and I'm going to learn what it means to be a new me. I'm going to learn what it means to act differently, to operate in this space, to speak in this way. I'm going to learn who I am now as a result of who I have decided to become.
Wow. That's a book right there. And the
Mhm.
first thing that came to my mind was discipline. And our
Yes.
minds turn away from it, our bodies turn away from it, because at the end of the day, who really wants to be disciplined? But when you change your mind,
Mhm.
there's comes in that discipline. And Keisha, you know what? I have one other question attached to that thought also. A lot of people are looking and maybe it's not attached, you tell me.
Mhm.
A lot of people say, I want to do something. Oh, I'm all in, count me in.
Mhm.
But when it's time to hire that mentor, hire
Mhm.
that coach, to really invest and be all in, to go to the meetup, which is not free, then
Mhm.
they want to shirk and jerk. They want to pull back like you stole from them.
Mhm.
What does that have to do with our mindset, with the discipline, and us running our mouth saying, I want to change?
Well, really, it goes back to what we just talked about. When people make emotional decisions, well,
Mm,
they take emotional actions because you don't make an emotional decision. You make an emotional reaction. So if early on in the year, people are talking about New Year's resolutions, or
mhm,
they see something about an event that's coming up or a meetup or something, oh, that looks great. That's awesome. Emotionally, I'm reacting to what I just saw.
yes.
When you get people who react, reactions are temporary. Reactions are tied to your emotion and your feeling at the moment.
Mhm,
When you make a decision and you have flipped that switch in your mind that says, this is now what I am committing to do, that's when you honor that decision with action. That's when you invest in the coach. That's when you pay for the events. That's when you realign your schedule to make sure that there's time for you to be able to do what you committed to doing.
mhm.
That's when you make the lifestyle changes and you look at honestly what you need to learn, how you need to grow, and what you need to be better at.
Yes.
People who have a difficult time accepting criticism, accepting critique, and accepting coaching are like that because they're reacting.
Mm,
They haven't made a decision to respond and to take in and to learn.
mhm. Wow. I never looked at it that way. That is, wow, that is thought provoking, and it's all tied into us making up our mind, not making up our mind, reacting out of emotion.
Mhm.
That that water runs deep. Wow. Mm, mm, mm. Tell me, dear lady, how well, I'd like to leave the audience with something that they can do right now. It's important for many of us to flip that switch and not react out of emotion, since now we know that's the reason why we can't hold to anything and why we don't see the change. We don't embrace it the way that we want to. We say that we want to. Is there something that we can do today so that we can begin the process of flipping that switch, or do we just come to that crossroads and the switch is on automatically? How do we move ourselves so that we can be decisive and we can flip that switch and we can move forward?
Well, one thing that I have found in my work with clients is that we don't make a decision to do anything differently if it's not real to us.
Mm,
And the way it's real to us is it's in our minds. And this is something that people don't understand. Our reality is based on the images and the stories and the messages that our minds give us.
Mm-hmm.
Because think about it. If you're afraid of something because you don't know anything about it, your mind has conjured up this huge story in your head about what it is that you're going to be afraid of, what's going to hurt you, what's the unknown, all of this. When
Yes.
you have these self-fulfilling prophecies where you start thinking, oh, I'm no good at that, I can't do that, I'm going to fail at that, and because you have this story that you're telling yourself in your mind, then your actions follow suit. It's this
Mm-hmm.
whole thing of fear are the stories that we tell ourselves. And so if you want to shift your mindset and you want to flip that switch, you have to create a new mind movie of success. And so the exercise that I give my clients to do, and this is individuals, teams, I do this with corporate executives, we have to come up with and create a new image, a new story in our head that is going to become our new reality.
Mm-hmm.
We formulate our reality based on our imagination. Our imagination is built based on what our minds tell us. And so when it talks about writing the vision, you need to sit down, and I tell everybody, picture yourself at the pinnacle of success. Whatever it is that you're trying to do, if it's starting a business, if it's switching careers, if it's getting a promotion, if it's losing weight, if it's getting in shape, whatever it is, I want you to picture yourself at the pinnacle of success, where everything that you thought you wanted to achieve has been achieved, and you are now basking in the glow. You are living the life. And think about if Oprah or the OWN Network or Good Morning America or the Today Show or The View, whatever your show of preference is, they decided they heard about you and they want to do a profile piece on you, living your best life in your area of success. And so they're going to send a camera crew to your house, and they're going to follow you around from the moment you wake up to the moment you lay your head down at night. What are they going to see?
Mm-hmm.
Write that story.
Mm-hmm.
That is your mind movie, and be detailed. I wake up in the morning to the smooth jazz station that comes on when my alarm sounds. I open my eyes and I look out over the ocean in my two-story beach house. And as I get out and I put my robe on and my feet touch down on my heated bamboo floors, I walk away and I start my music and I have my devotion before I get ready to take my shower and get ready for the day. Be detailed, because you're creating a new reality for yourself.
Wow.
And once you create this mind movie of success and you write it out completely detailed, everything from what you wear to what you eat to who you encounter, who you interact with, who you work out with, who you hang out with, every single thing that you do for that entire day. And then you read that and you ask yourself, what is needed to make that happen?
Mm-hmm.
Not what do you need to do? Because our first reaction is, oh, I don't have the money, I don't have the resources, I can't do this, this is impossible. Don't say, what do I have to do? Because you're going to throw up roadblocks. Say instead, what is needed to make that happen? And just ask yourself that question repeatedly for every single component in that mind movie. And now that becomes your blueprint of the steps that you need to take to get from where you are now to where you envisioned in that mind movie. You read that mind movie over several times a day. I keep mine with me. I read it first thing in the morning. I read it in the middle of the day. I read it when I don't feel motivated. I read it when things are difficult. I read it when I'm flying high and I have another success that I'm checking off the list. I reiterate it and I read it so that it becomes a part of me, because I'm changing my mindset.
That is powerful. The mind movie. Oh my goodness. You just gave us the blueprint. You gave us the how to build this thing, and we can no longer say we can't do it, because if we and everybody's going to have to listen to this conversation again so that they're sure and they're clear about what you just laid out in what, less than 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
You laid out the success story for everyone. How do we get there? Wow. So then this includes once we're going, we start at the very beginning. What is it going to take to do this and this and this and this?
Mhm.
Then that means that we now see ourselves doing it. We are much more open to asking for help. Am I
Yes.
correct in that?
Yes. Because now, after you've asked yourself what is needed to make this happen, then after you lay out the steps, then you say, for example, I mentioned that I woke up in a condo on the beach. What
Mm-hmm.
is needed to make that happen? I need to find a condo on the beach. What is needed to make that happen? I need to figure out which beach I want to live on. What is needed to make that happen? I need to do a Google search and do some research with the areas and to find out how much the houses cost. What is needed to make that happen? I need to set up some time to get on my computer and do a search.
Mm-hmm.
I just laid out the first things that I'm going to do. And then you act on it. You
Mm-hmm.
start from the last thing that you wrote, because last things first. You start with the last thing that you wrote because that's the first step that you take.
Wow.
And then along the way, you say, okay, what resources do I need? What people do I need? What things do I need to know and learn and be able to do? Who do I need to connect with? Because you recognize that if you have this map and you have this blueprint, now you know where you need to ask for help. Now you know where you need to improve your skills. Now you know where you need to learn. Now you know which conference you need to go to. You know exactly which event you need to attend. Because when you have this mind movie of success and you have the blueprint with the steps, there are no wasted efforts.
Yes. Mm.
Everything
Yes.
connects to your goal and where you're trying to get to. And if there's something you didn't know that you needed, you just add it, but it still connects to where you want to get to.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We don't spend 5 or 10 years wandering in the wilderness because we took a wrong turn and we realize this has nothing to do with where I want to get to in life.
Yes.
No,
Oh.
you have that mapped out.
Uh-huh.
And
Uh-huh.
this is one thing that I want people to listen to and to really, really understand. Change is a process that begins with an event. So if you are changing your mindset, if you are changing your circumstances, if you are changing your career, if you are changing your financial situation, whatever you are changing, it is a process that begins with an event. The first event is your mind movie of success. The first event for me was being in my house in Katrina. And then
Mm-hmm.
I had to create my mind movie and figure out where do I go from here. For most of us, our events are a layoff, a divorce, a health issue, a divorce, or changes in family or health, and so we look at that as saying, oh, well, that's the change.
Mm-hmm.
No, that's just the event.
Mm-hmm.
Now you have to figure out what are you going to do as a result of that event.
That's your seat of power. Take your
Yes.
power from that point on.
Yes, exactly.
Wow. I am almost speechless because I feel the power of that. I really do, because it's like a business plan. But this, I mean, to me, this is much more valuable than
Mhm,
a business plan. The two go hand in hand. You need them.
mhm.
But my goodness, get this mind movie down so that you're not just flailing along. I think this might be the way, or everything is intentional. And you know what, Keisha, I like the fact that you let everybody know it's a process.
Yes.
I get so sick and tired of everybody wanting to be the next big thing, and it's going to happen overnight. And if it doesn't, then something's wrong. Or we're parading ourselves on social media like
Mhm.
we got it together like that. And I wonder how many people really have a mind movie, a mind map. They're following it. That's where the success is, the seed of
Yep.
success is.
And
Wow.
if you study everyone, and here's the thing, the average overnight success, quote unquote,
Mm-hmm.
was 10 years in the making.
Mm-hmm.
They were doing their thing and honing their craft and building their dream and studying and practicing and spending the late nights and going to these meetings and being told no. They were doing all of this out of the public eye.
Yes. Yes.
When they finally broke through on the public scene, that's just the first time you knew about them.
Mm-hmm.
They've been doing this for a while. You know, when I first came out, when Katrina came, I've been doing this for a while.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
now people know about me because they're starting to hear about me. You can never discount the process.
Oh, you are saying so much. You know what? I mean, we could go on and on, but I'm telling you, you are saying so much. I don't want to stop the conversation here, but I feel as though I need to because I mean, every sentence is gold. And here we are at the top of the year, and people need to implement everything that you're talking about and take in this information to make it a reality and understand that you take your seat of power.
Mm-hmm.
You have rendered me almost speechless. I am afraid for you to give more information. I really am. Hey, because I don't want to fire hose anybody. You know, it's so easy to listen to a podcast. Most people subscribe to 7 podcasts and actually listen to them top to bottom.
Mm-hmm.
But this one right here, you have changed lives in a matter of 15 minutes. So if it's okay with you, I
Mm-hmm.
want to ask one final question.
Okay.
Do you have a webinar or something where people can gather and get more information, where you are actually leading them through the mind movie? Because I don't want people to just hear this. I want people to be able to do it, to implement it, and get their map and get going, getting on this.
Yeah, and actually, I have two things. One, there is a Facebook group that I started called Mindset to Mastery. If you go to my website at carsgroup.com, and that's KARS group.com, there is a sign up for you to sign up for my newsletter, and that will give you the dates because I'm actually, I've been asked several times to do a Mindset to Mastery mind movie of success this
Mm-hmm.
year. So I will be doing one I don't want to do it too soon, but I'm looking at doing it in February at some point. And so they'll have information on that will come if you sign up for the email newsletter. It'll send you the invite, let you know what the dates are. I do it virtually.
Mm-hmm.
Which makes it easy because you can participate from anywhere. And I walk you through the process, and I have you start creating your mind movie, and then I walk you through the other steps of how to deconstruct and come up with your action plan, how to then put that onto a timeline to figure out when you're going to do the different activities, how to group them, and then set you up with accountability partners so that you can stay on track. Because we can't do all of this by ourselves.
Okay.
And so many people try to do it where they say, oh, I listened to that, I went through and I did what she said, but your life still goes on and you're still in the same environment.
Yes.
So making that internal shift is a process in and of itself, and you need guidance to be able to do that. So we will have the mind movie of success, the Mindset to Mastery webinar and summit that's going to be coming up in the next few weeks.
Okay.
And if they go to my website, it'll have information on there. You can join the Facebook group at no charge, and there's a link on my website for the Facebook group. So if you want to, you'll come in and it'll ask you a couple of questions in order to give you access. But within there, you'll be able to share your journey and get support along the way as well, and to ask questions of me, and just to make sure that you're staying on track with what you're doing, because we want to set you up for success. Yes. We don't want you to get on that hamster wheel of the self-fulfilling prophecies that are negative.
Mm-hmm.
When people talk about empowering someone, I said, I'm not empowering you because I'm not pouring power into you. I'm releasing the power that's already in you.
Yes. Yes, yes, yes. I'm shaking my head. Yes, yes. That's exactly what you're doing right now. Wow. Cars Group, KARS group.com. That is the where you go to have access to also your podcast, Mindset to Mastery podcast. They can go to carsgroup.com, take a listen to your podcast, subscribe, and stay on top of what's going on with Keisha A. Rivers. Also find Keisha over on LinkedIn and definitely scurry over to the Facebook page. And let's make some changes. Let's make some definite changes. And you hear it from a person that survived 15 feet of water in their home, Katrina, being displaced, and already an established entrepreneur, but now she's just stronger, better, much more fortified. And here she is with us today. And we do, yes, we do know her, and we hear her seat of power. Thank you so very much. I personally appreciate your work and what you're doing. You have restored hope in my journey.
Well, thank you so much for having me. Like I said, our last conversation, we were like, wait, we should have hit record on this because we have some really good nuggets coming across.
Yeah.
But when you're operating in your sweet spot, and you're operating in that place where you say, I am home because this is where I belong, it's not work, it's not hard. Mm-hmm. You still need accountability, and you still need support, and you need guidance. But that feeling of I am home, that feeling is what keeps you moving and keeps you going.
Yes. I tell you, every sentence is a gold nugget. Every sentence, that thing of home, your purpose is home. I can relate to that. I feel the same way about podcasting. I'm home with podcasting. Wow. You know what? I feel another question coming on. I feel a whole nother another part to this conversation coming up. But like I said, I'm going to stop it right here because it is imperative that you audience hear every sentence and get with Keisha. Go to the Facebook, go to carsgroup.com, listen to her podcast, Mindset to Mastery, become a part of the Facebook group, get with that accountability partner, because when you're in your sweet spot, somebody's waiting for you to get there because they need what you have. Am I right, Keisha?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
All right. Don't starve the world. We're waiting for you. I'm Margot Levette. Goodness. Another grand episode of Her Business, Her Voice, Her Conversation. Go over to my website. Be sure to, if you'd like to be a guest on Intentional Podcast, which is a podcast that I'm starting up. It's a platform for authors and entrepreneurs. It's simply an opportunity for you to come on and showcase your book, talk about your business. It's your 15 minutes of fame, and we convert that into a marketing branding tool. You want to be a guest, go over to my website, go to the drop down and want to be a guest, fill out that form, and let's make it happen. So I'm out of here until next week. I have to say thank you and take a listen. I tell you, I'm belaboring this. I mean every word. Keisha A. Rivers is the real deal. She came, she taught, and she gave more than she really should have given to us. So don't let it fall on deaf ears. Implement it. Get started today. There you are. The teacher has given you the action plan. Teacher has given you your homework. Get with Keisha A. Rivers, and she's going to give you more homework. All right. All right. Lest I ramble, lest I go on, but this is important. And you know what? That's what this show is all about, giving you the right now tools so you have a tool, have an action plan for right now. So get about it. I'll be back next week with a brand new episode. Her Business, Her Voice, Her Conversation. Bye-bye now. I want to thank you for listening to Her Business, Her Voice, Her Conversation. Couple of things that I want you to do right now. Go to my website, pick up a copy of Her Business, Her Voice, Her Reinvention, how I went from game show hopping to international show host, author, and speaker in 1 year. Number 2, Please freely listen to each and every episode. Share them out with your family, friends, the men in your lives. And then number 3, get in contact with me, one of the experts that have been on the show, because I want to make sure that you reinvent yourself. I'll be back next week with a brand new episode here on Her Business, Her Voice, Her Conversation.